This is the money handbook I wish I had in my 20s and my 30s so that I could build wealth a lot faster than I did. Now, it is not this overcomplicated financial textbook like the ones I had to learn when I became a certified financial planner. This is the real life video version of the handbook I needed when I turned 22 and all of a sudden had to manage money on my own. Like most of you, I didn't grow up with financial education. So most of what I learned before I became a financial professional, it all came from trial and error and a lot of very expensive lessons. But once I finally understood the basics and I had a solid foundation, money stopped feeling scary. So for full transparency, this is not one of those 47-step tutorial videos that's going to give you all the ins and outs of money. What this is simply core foundations that are going to help you flourish when it comes to building wealth and building an abundant life. Let's dive right in, chapter number 1. Has money ever made you feel anxious or overwhelmed or like you're behind in life or behind everyone around you? These feelings are pretty common, and that's because in reality, most of us were never actually taught how money works. And lacking that knowledge makes it really hard to have peace of mind when it comes to money. If financial security can give us such a great quality of life, why were most of us never taught how to achieve it? So I want to call out that you are not behind. I want to talk through a few reminders. Reminder number 1. Technically, you're not behind because there's no such thing as ahead or behind when you think of everyone starting at different starting lines and having different obstacles along the way. Think about a race, 2 people running. If one runner has hurdles in their lane and another person has a straight shot to the finish line, who do you think is going to have an easier job getting there? It might seem like the same race because it's the same distance, but it's not. When it comes to money, that's how we tend to judge ourselves. It's like if we're the same age, we should all have nice cars and be buying houses by now, taking vacations, taking trips. But that's not how it works. Everyone has different obstacles and everyone comes from different backgrounds, different starting points, different amounts of financial education, financial support, and access. Reminder number 2. If you tend to compare yourself to others, you have to remind yourself that what you're usually seeing are the highlights, and they don't always represent real financial stability, right? Your coworker that has the nice car could be debt-free with a high net worth and very comfortable with their finances, but they could also be in a lot of debt, living paycheck to paycheck, and stressed out every night about their finances. Oftentimes, it's hard to see on the outside. And reminder number 3, if you've ever felt behind, I want you to know that regardless of whether you're in your 20s or your 30s or your 40s, 50s, 60s, it is never too late to shift your relationship with money. I want you to know that you can still build a financial life that feels intentional and aligned with what you actually want. On a personal note, I used to feel so deeply confused when it came to money, especially more complex topics. And this was even when I started making more. It felt like, okay, now I'm making this much. I should understand how investing works. I should understand what a 401k is. And now I might look foolish if I ask about what these things are, considering I make good money. So in that situation, I was holding myself back even more by avoiding asking questions. That's why I wish I had this handbook. If somebody reminded me,
it's not too late to learn. It doesn't matter what you're making, how much money you have or don't have, you can always change your trajectory and change your financial situation.
That would have helped me to get back on track. So chapter 1, don't ever assume that you're bad with money or that you're worse off than everyone else around you. That idea and that kind of thinking will keep you stuck rather than making you feel confident that there is a way to improve. Chapter 2. So personal finance is a very complex space. But in this chapter, I want to talk about just a few simple rules that actually matter above all. Because if I had to condense everything I've learned about money into just a simple handbook, I could actually boil a lot of it down to just a few core rules. So I'm going to cover 4 of those with you in this chapter. Rule number 1, your money needs a job. What this means is you got to decide what your money is for. Otherwise, it's going to disappear and be used on things that you didn't plan for, and in many cases, things you don't even care about. Quick story about me, and I've also seen this in a lot of clients. But what I used to do back in the day was I used to put all of my savings in one account. They didn't have little sub-accounts and categories back then. I didn't know what an emergency fund was back then. I just knew that I had money to pull from in case of emergency. The problem was I also used that same bucket of money for taking trips, going to concerts, going shopping on a whim. I didn't have an exact plan for what money was going to be set aside for this or that. So what would tend to happen is my savings would go down when I ended up buying things. Then an emergency would hit, and that's when I would need like a solid stash for emergencies, and it wouldn't be there. Even though I had money set aside, it wasn't clear what its job was supposed to be for. It was a catch-all, and that's how I ended up getting myself in a rut so many times in the past. I know some people don't like to have a plan for their money because they want the flexibility to know they can use it on whatever they feel like tomorrow, but there are ways to plan for that. You can assign your money, and you can also have a bucket of money that you save up for that can be used like a flexible bucket on anything you want at any time, and you won't touch your emergency money when you feel like doing something on a whim. The second core rule is that consistency matters so much more than trying to be perfect. I want you to know that you don't need to overhaul your finances overnight. Sometimes people don't want to start improving their finances until they start making more, so they put it off. But the thing that is going to improve your finances and give you financial security a lot sooner is making small moves, building small habits, and just being consistent over time. I used to have my paychecks direct deposited into my checking account, and then I'd pay all my bills, and then if there was any money extra, maybe I'd move it into savings. But then once I learned about the concept of paying yourself first, meaning save money up front anytime you make money, anytime you get paid, I decided to set up a second direct deposit directly into my savings account. So I started with a small amount. It was like $50. At first I thought, all right, $50 every paycheck, cool, that's gonna help me save, but it's not even a lot. Is it even worth it? But what I realized after doing that for a few months was, yes, there was money there set aside and I was starting to build up my savings. But more importantly, I built that habit, and now every single time I get paid, this is years later, 8 years later, every single time I get paid, it feels weird not to put money into savings or investments. It has become a priority because I built that habit. Building habits like that, it helps you kind of rewire your brain. You train yourself to believe that you are worth saving money for, that your future matters. The third core rule that I want you to know is that money mistakes are usually strategy problems rather than character problems. Meaning, money mistakes are things that you should try not to internalize as a part of your identity or your character. I'll give the example of taking on debt. A lot of people who have debt feel like they are bad with money. But a different viewpoint and mindset that you can have if you have debt is, I took on debt for these reasons. Or, I took on debt and I shouldn't have. That probably was a mistake. I want to learn more so that I don't do it again. Now, the other thing about internalizing these mistakes we make with money is that they kind of make us stuck, and they kind of get in our way because they take away our confidence when it comes to money. It is very common to make a money mistake. In fact, if you've never made one, I would question you. Like, most people will at some point or another make a mistake. But the key is to not internalize it. Most people don't even end up in debt because they're reckless. They get into debt because education is expensive and something that we're told to do. Healthcare is expensive and something we can often not avoid. Housing is expensive and we all need a roof over our heads. And life is simply expensive. Now, even if you tell me that you got yourself into debt because of credit cards and overspending and bad behaviors, I still want you to zoom out, take a step back, and think about this. We live in a world where we are marketed to constantly. We see hundreds, if not thousands, of advertisements every day. If you don't believe me, open your email inbox, drive around town, you'll see some billboards, scroll on social media, watch an episode of TV. So if you're being sold something everywhere you go, and some of us end up in debt because of it, whose fault is that really? Maybe it's everyone's fault. But either way, I just want you to know that even if you've developed unhealthy spending habits, those habits don't form in a vacuum. So as much as you can, have empathy for yourself and try to separate money mistakes and strategy decisions as separate from who you are. Finally, the fourth core rule I want to cover in this chapter is that your money should be used intentionally. Your money should support the life that you want and not the life other people expect. This means making financial decisions based on what truly brings value to your life, what brings you joy, what brings you happiness, what brings you comfort, instead of spending your money because you want to impress another person. I'm not going to lie to you guys. There were many years in my 20s and 30s where I cared so much about driving a nice car, wearing nice clothes, wearing nice new shoes all the time. I went through a whole phase where I didn't even want to wear the same shoes on back-to-back days going to work. It was like a personal thing. Don't know why or where that came from because I'm sure nobody noticed, but that's what it was. And to be perfectly clear and even more honest, I still like nice things to this day. But there's a key difference, and that is the why behind it. Back then, I was driven a lot by other people's opinions of me. I used to work in Beverly Hills, so I wanted to make sure I wasn't driving a hoopty and I was driving like a Mercedes. I wanted to make sure that I looked like I belonged. It was a lot of external factors that fueled my spending decisions. Now, today, instead, I'm more driven by having clarity around what I value, what actually makes me happy, what brings me comfort. And yes, sometimes an intentional occasional flex, but I'm not driven by that anymore. That small shift of having clarity behind why I spend on things has protected me from overspending, and that has helped me grow my wealth so much faster. So these 4 core rules form the backbone of what I think makes a strong foundation if you want to have a confident financial life. We've got 2 chapters down and 2 to go. If this video is resonating and you're still with me, please don't forget to hit the like button, and if you're not already subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well. It really helps out my channel and it helps me reach more people that I can help with their finances. Let's jump into chapter 3. The lies. This is the chapter where we call out unhealthy beliefs that we have about money, and instead, let's replace them with some truths. This is an exercise that I want you to continue to do throughout your financial journey. Holding on to certain beliefs about money can not only negatively impact our emotional health and our mental health, but those beliefs can also impact our actual financial lives, even if we don't realize it. So I'm just going to give you 3 examples of different lies, different false beliefs that keep people stuck. The first lie is, I need to make more money before I can get my finances organized. So more money is nice, but it does not ever magically fix confusion and disorganization. More money is nice, but it doesn't automatically create better habits and behaviors. More money is nice, but it doesn't just suddenly give you clarity about your goals and wants in life and how you're going to get there. The biggest thing you can do for yourself right now is to understand how to manage what you already have. I promise you, if you struggle to manage $100, you will struggle managing $1,000, $10,000, $100,000, even $1 million. So if you think things are tight and you tell yourself you're just gonna get serious about your finances later when you have more, I want you to flip that thinking around. Start believing that clarity actually comes first. And then when more money comes, you're gonna know exactly what to do with it. The second lie I hear all the time is, I'm just bad with money. I touched on this already a little bit earlier in the video, but the truth that I want you to remember is that nobody is born knowing how to budget money or save or invest or pay off debt. These are all learned skills. So if you were never taught, then unfortunately the onus is on you to learn. And if you haven't learned yet, you can now. It doesn't matter your age. What matters is that you make the change and you commit to improving. And the third lie I want to cover is that investing is only for rich people. It's kind of the opposite, right? It's a little backwards. To become rich, you have to invest. So if you think that investing is only for rich people and you never do it because you don't consider yourself rich, then you will never become rich. Investing is one of the ways that people become wealthy. That is just a fact. So these are 3 examples of common lies or false beliefs that I hear all the time from clients and from people who come to me for help with money. In reality, there are many different false beliefs that people can hold. What I want you to practice is building an awareness that these beliefs exist, because the more aware you are, it's going to help you identify these false beliefs, and it's going to help you start to erase them and replace them with truths. We're almost at the end. This last chapter is where everything becomes more practical. So how can you actually use this handbook in real life? My hope is that some of what you heard is going to plant a seed, and then maybe later on it helps you change how you move with money. So touching on what I said earlier about you don't have to be perfect, I want you to know that you don't have to leave this video remembering everything in this video. And like I said, you don't have to overhaul your finances overnight. The main thing I want you to leave with is intention. If you have the intention to improve your finances so that you can become financially secure, that is the perfect place to start. So let me cover 3 ways you can be intentional about using this handbook in real life so that you can start improving your finances now. Number 1, decide that you are a person who is learning about money now. You're watching this video already, so I'm not going to worry too much about if you're going to do this one, but I want you to actually think about it. Make the decision today that you are not someone who's bad with money, that you know a lot of things, and that you also have more to learn. And make that commitment that you are actively choosing to grow and learn when it comes to money. On a practical level, you can set this in motion by finding a few trusted sources where you can keep your learning going. It could be my channel and other channels. It could be books, podcasts, Instagram accounts, but surround yourself with more of this type of information and education, and it's going to start becoming second nature to you. Number 2, another way to use this handbook in real life, I want you to find spaces in your life where money is not a taboo topic. You're not going to be able to talk about money with everyone, but it could be one friend that you trust and who's on the same wavelength as you. It could be your partner. It could be an online community that you find. Money is going to feel more difficult and a lot heavier when you carry it alone and you have no one to talk to about it. So find that place or two where you can start talking about it out loud. And number 3, if you really want to put this handbook in motion in real life, I want you to just pick one small practical action that you can take right now and immediately implement. Pick one habit. It could be tracking your spending for a week. It could be paying yourself first, like I mentioned earlier, setting that direct deposit up directly into a savings account. It could be watching one educational video a day. Find some small step that is easy for you to do and just incorporate it. Like I said at the beginning of this video, this is the foundation I wish that I had. And it's not because it teaches every tactic about money in detail, right? We didn't dive into budgeting and other strategies in this video, but what these foundations do, they change the way you think about money. I'm a big believer that building wealth is not just about a number, but it's also helping you build confidence with money and feeling good about building a better quality of life. So if that resonates with you, then I hope you stick around for more videos. Until next time, peace out.